Welcome to Gold Derby's casting directors panel with Emmy-nominated casting directors Wendy O'Brien from Abbott Elementary, Charlene Lee and Claire Koonce from Beef, Laura Rosenthal and Jodi Angstreich from Fleishman Is in Trouble, Susie Farris from Jury Duty, and Erin Tomasello from The Traitors. What an all-star casting crew, and such a crucial element to any successful TV show. Obviously, the cast ultimately sells to the show, but nobody just wakes up and says, I want to be a casting director. So I want to hear from each of you. When did you discover this as a career path for you? And what was your very first job in a casting capacity?
I kind of have to jump in because I woke up one day and said, I want to be a casting director.
Did you?
Yeah, I was like in sixth grade. I had no idea. I really did not know what that meant, but I saw in credits the word. And so that I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to be a casting director. So just jump in there with that.
I can tell my story really quick. I was a broadcast major, so I knew I had this great big personality. I didn't know what I was going to do to put it to use. I kind of wanted to be like a host or an actress. And so I took all kinds of broadcasting classes and was a news reporter, and finally made the jump. I'm from a very small town in Lake Tahoe, California, and made the jump to Los Angeles to make my dreams come true, and got down here and I was like, I cannot report the news. I need to work in something fun. And so that's how I got a chance with being a casting recruiter, which is literally you're on the streets with a clipboard, signing people up, asking them asking people if they'll do your TV show. And that's where I got my start. And I knew I was in the right business. I had so much fun with it. I'm a true fan of unscripted television and all television. So for me, it just made sense. And I love it.
I will say that I was working on Wall Street. I lived in New York. I was working on Wall Street after college and looked at the corner offices and realized that I didn't want to be in any of those. So I quit my job and I started bartending, and I interned in a casting office and fell in love with it. And so then I started working my way up, and I have to thank Laura Rosenthal right here, who introduced me to the producers of Wet Hot American Summer. And that was the first movie I ever cast on my own. And I feel like that really paved the way. Thanks, Laura.
I love that.
I mean, I think I wanted to know what people were thinking since I was very, very little. Jodi maybe knows this story. I put a little thing on outside of my bedroom door saying 5 cents for advice, and I convinced my sisters to come in so I could just listen to them, so I could just give them advice. And cut to read an article about Julia Taylor. I thought, oh, I could do that. I met people from NYU at a club I was working at called the Knitting Factory back in New York in the late 80s. And I got an interview with Julia Taylor and Ellen Lewis. They weren't looking for anybody, but I kept hounding them and ended up starting in their office as an intern. And my first job was Woody Allen's short film, New York Stories. And I talk about real people. I hit the road and just found real people for him, and just loved actors and cast student films, and I've been stuck ever since.
Wow. Well, I'll jump in. Wendy, I grew up on a farm as well, and so I went to school actually for music, and it wasn't until later in my college career that I added on a directing degree, and I've loved working with actors. That was the only part of directing that I liked. So I came out to Los Angeles to be a manager because that was the closest relationship they had. And Charlene and I both started, what was that, 15 years ago now, started working for managers. And literally day 2 of my first job, I was like, well, no, I want to be in the room, not getting people in the room. So it was just kind of like, I knew from there I wanted to be in casting. So my first casting was like a master's thesis film, a student film, something like that, or some kind of like student web series, because I knew I wanted to be in casting and I had no access to it at the time, but found my way here.
When I was in college, we did a program where we were out in LA for a month, and we had to pick a concentration within entertainment, and I wound up picking casting. And it seems kind of insane, but I cold called and emailed different casting directors, and fortunately a few of them spoke to me and allowed me to pick their brain, and it made me realize I wanted to go into castings.
And I did an internship in college at the University of Washington. And my first show was Northern Exposure. And I worked for Patty Callis. And that was my jump in.
You know, I can't help but look around this panel, and it's 7 women all nominated for Emmys. Is this one of the fields of Hollywood that is female dominated? And if so, why do you think that is? And does anyone want to speak to that? And what does it make you feel like when you look around this panel?
I'll jump in on the unscripted side. And then I could let you ladies speak on the scripted side. When I first started, this was a very male-dominated field. And I still think it is today. We have a lot of males in it, but as strong, powerful women, we are taking over. No, we do have a lot of women now. And all 4 of the ladies that are, there's 4 of us all together. My 3 other producers that are nominated with me in this category are females as well. So I'm proud to say that.
And Laura, what were you going to say about film and scripted TV?
Me?
Yeah.
About film and scripted TV? Oh,
I mean, just in terms of
well, I think intuition. I think women have, a greater sense of intuition, and we're just cooler gender and usher it all in. We're the start. We're kind of, we funnel it all in. We're the nuts and bolts of it all. And I think it's just women. I was going to say something else, but it's women for a reason.
I think what we do is we have to be very nurturing to the actors, and I think it's to create a warm room to get the best out of actors and get what you need. But I think it's also a very political role that we have. We deal with producers, we deal with networks, we deal with agents and managers, and I think there's a lot of multitasking, and I think that these are a lot of skills that sort of go hand in hand with, what women tend to be good at. Not to say that there aren't fantastic men who work in this business, but I do think it's dominated by women, and it's really nice to be surrounded by smart, creative, powerful women.
Yeah. Well, and then to capitalize on that as well, I think there's, because you have to speak a lot of different languages. You have to speak an actor language, you have to speak a producer language, and those sorts of things. But also, it is a largely unsung profession. And, a lighting designer can sit down with a director and they'll be like, okay, here, or a costume designer can sit down and a director will be like, oh, I sat down with my costume designer and we came up with all these ideas and this is what we came up with together. But a little bit of our job is to make 2 people feel like they found each other and kind of capture that lightning in a bottle, like Wendy was saying. And so I think sometimes our profession can go quite a bit unsung, which it's really, really lovely to be recognized in this capacity. And I do think that women might be a little bit more used to that. And so it's really, really great to see that changing. But I think that may be one of the reasons that men maybe have not stayed in this industry as long-term as women have.
And Wendy, what for you are some of the biggest challenges in the industry for casting directors? Is it like the budget, or finding the perfect actor and the studio doesn't think they're famous enough, or what are some of the challenges that you go through as a casting director?
Well, I think budget for sure. It seems it's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. The orders are getting smaller. So personally for us, we're always having to we have a faster turnaround now. I mean, Abbott's a gift that it's 22 episodes, but sometimes it's 6 episodes, sometimes it's 8, and you're trying to fill your dance card with just a very rapid schedule or a quick, 6 episodes doesn't take very long. So that, and that the budgets and that the actors are the limitations that they're putting on the actors to stay available for one series, but then they have 10 months of no work. I think that's part of what everyone's fighting for right now too, is to have more freedom make a career as an actor. We're all in that together.
And Charlene, what is the first piece of advice to any actor who wants to be on a TV show? What would you say to them when they submit a tape or walk into a room? What does a casting director want to see from them, aside from them being a good actor?
I think to not be afraid to bring part of yourself to the role that you're auditioning for, and to have a unique point of view with the character you're auditioning for. That would be my piece of advice.
Laura, how about you? What would you say to actors coming into the studio? We may have just lost Laura. So let's go to Claire. What's your piece of advice?
I think that a lot of actors step into a room thinking it's a pass-fail situation, like they either are going to get the job or they're not. And that's not the case at all. It's the beginning of a relationship. This is a hello. This is us getting to know each other. And maybe it happens for this job. Maybe it happens on another job, on another project, like Wendy was saying, or I'm sure Susie experiences, I'm sure all of you experience this a lot, where when someone comes close, when you develop a relationship with an actor, you end up looking for roles where you think they're going to be wonderful and showcased. And so, yeah, it's not a pass fail situation. It's the beginning of a relationship. And so feeling a little bit centered in knowing that you can walk in with some confidence.
And you can lose a role, and it doesn't mean you're a bad actor. It just
absolutely
so many things that can take you in one direction or the other. Jodi, how about you? What's your top piece of advice?
First, I want to apologize for Laura. She just texted me her computer just died. So,
Okay.
and she doesn't have a charger. So my apologies for Laura. She's out of juice. I think one thing I have been saying recently, I feel like with the advent of self-tapes have been around forever, but with the addition of them being our constant right now, self-tapes is just to try not to overthink so much, because actors now have too much ability to do 50 takes and trying to choose. And I think that can go for anybody in any profession. I certainly am an overthinker, but I think that a lot of times it's that first take that's the best one, and trying not to like nitpick everything. That goes for after a Zoom audition as well. It's like, sometimes it's just like you just need to go for it and not overthink.
Susie, how about you?
I think that actors, I would want actors to know that we are actually their cheerleaders, and we're really hoping when they come in the room that they nail it, that they are the answer to our problem, because this is once we get to start ticking off the boxes of the roles that we need to cast. But I would also say that there is an actor for every role, and like everyone else is saying, that we keep a mental Rolodex. And just because you don't get this job, you could be right for the next one. And that's very much how I cast jury duty. All the actors who I've loved from previous shows that I've worked on, I mean, you better believe I asked every single one of them to tape, because I didn't have the construct of you have to cast this particular character. So now it's like, I've loved this person and never got to cast them.
Wendy, what would you say?
I love all these answers. Oh my God, that would be so fun. Susie, good. Yeah, I think I kind of got lost on the question, actually, because I was listening to all the answers, but
just your piece of advice that you would give someone coming into the audition room or sending in a tape to get the attention or succeed.
It's all a version of that. I mean, really, it's just bring your version, not what you think we're looking for. Bring your take on it, not what you think the answer is, because your take will be unlike anyone else's. And that sometimes is that lightning in a bottle, where the producers didn't even see it that way. And then they hear it, a completely fresh, interesting version, whether they end up shooting that or not, that'll be determined, but that may be the difference of the role.
And Erin, it's a little different for reality TV. So talk about that and what you look for in casting someone for reality television.
Yeah, and even though it's different, these ladies hit the nail on the head, right? I really need people to dig in deep and just be themselves. I need them to not tell me what they think I want them to tell me and what I want to hear. And the magic really does happen when they are just truly themselves. They're vulnerable, they're raw, they share their flaws, you know, relatability, all of that stuff. And then let's be honest, we need energy. We need them to fill a room. You know, whether, you know, even though it's reality and it's unscripted, there is a role that we like them to fill. So are they the villain? Are they, you know, the humor? So all of that advice was wonderful.
And just a quick final question, present company excluded. What's a film or TV casting that has been somewhat recent that was inspiring to you, that just blew you away or impressed you? You're just like, wow, I love this casting. I love, even if it's just a single character on a single show. What would you say? I'm going to start with Claire just because she's laughing.
I'm laughing because I just watched The Menu again last night, and that casting, I mean, every single one of those actors, I adore and I love. And so I was just talking to a friend of mine who knows nothing about casting, and I was raving about all the different actors, and they knew none of the names. And I was just like, I just love every single one of those actors, and to see them all together is great.
Who is next? Who's ready?
I'll jump in. I'm always willing to jump in. First of all, I have to give props to jury duty because I'm just obsessed with it. And I love that it has the real person in there too. So that was so amazing to me. Shameless and Euphoria are so wonderful. White Lotus was a big one for me as well. So congratulations to all those shows.
I'll go next.
Okay.
The two that immediately popped into my head were the casting on The Bear and the casting on Severance, who Rachel Tenner, who I used to work with, cast.
Wendy, how about you?
We had The Bear. I thought The Bear was every twist and turn I loved. I thought the cast was just so understated and annoyingly great.
And Jodi?
Super hard to choose. There's so many, and certainly present company excluded because definitely all of your shows. But I will give a shout out to a show called Paper Girls on Amazon that I watched recently. Like such great young people, like 13-year-olds who feel like 13-year-olds, who feel like actual, like real people, and their adult counterparts, including Ali Wong. Really great casting.
And Susie, you can wrap us up here.
Wow, this is tough. You guys all just named so many great shows, and you guys cast so many great shows. I'm gonna give a shout out to the great. I will watch Nicholas do anything, and I love all the Brits in the show, some of whom I wasn't familiar with before. So I'm gonna go with the great.
Well, all fantastic choices, and congratulations again to each of you for your Emmy nominations this year. Such fantastic work. You should all be proud of. I'm sure you are. And congratulations. Good luck at the upcoming Emmy Awards, and we can't wait to see you there.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations, everybody.
Congratulations, everyone. So nice to meet you all.